Good morning, fourth graders. I hope you guys are having a good morning and I hope you're on your best behavior so that we can have a great rest of our afternoon. Today, we're going to continue our work with the Chicago Fire and skyscrapers in Chicago. And our goal today, as you can see on the screen, is going to be to integrate information from two texts on the same topic in order to write or speak about the subject or topic knowledgeably. So I'm going to model for you guys how to take information from two texts about skyscrapers, and then you are going to work with a partner to do the same thing with two texts, actually one text and a video about the Chicago Fire. So let's get started. So today your reading work is a bit like doing a research project. So I want you guys to know what your tasks are so that you're able to do these right away. So the first thing that you guys are going to do is that you're going to be looking at two different texts. One's going to be an article that you've already read about the Chicago Fire, and then one's going to be a video about the Chicago Fire. And then these sources are going to help you answer a focus question. Then you're going to gather information from each text so you can closely read, take notes, and I'll have a graphic organizer for you. And then finally, you're going to write a paragraph using information from both texts to answer the focus question. So I'm going to model doing all these steps for you with a video and an article about skyscrapers, and then you guys are going to do the same thing with the Chicago Fire. So let's get started. So here is our rubric. Here's what I'm going to be looking for. So again, this is your standard that you need to complete as a fourth grader, that you're able to integrate or combine information from two texts on the same topic in order to write or speak about that subject knowledgeably. So our goal is for you guys to do this independently, and it's to take information from two texts and then to compose it or write it into a paragraph about that topic. So this is what your graphic organizer is going to look like, and I'm going to start off by looking at my skyscrapers article that we worked on yesterday, and I'm going to be taking information from the article after I reread it and putting it into my graphic organizer. So my focus question is going to be, how are steel beams important to a skyscraper? So after rereading this article, here were the text evidence pieces that I found in order to answer this question. So obviously, I've reread the article, and then as I reread it, I was annotating things that I thought would answer this question. How are steel beams important to a skyscraper? So here are some things that I found. A steel skeleton supports its floors and walls. So I think that shows that the steel beams are important to the skyscraper. Otherwise, the walls would fall down, and so would the floors. The steel beams made possible by new inventions. So now there's affordable steel beams, and then there's a safety elevator. So the steel beams might not have been used previously because they were too expensive, but now more affordable steel is being used so the skyscrapers can get bigger and bigger. The foundation below the ground supports the building and is built first. So I know that the steel beams would also be in the foundation, as well as the superstructure, which I also wrote here. The superstructure above the ground is a skeleton of steel beams from bottom to top. So all of these things help me to understand that steel beams are important to a skyscraper. So again, friends, you would reread the article, and then you would take notes that you think would answer the question. So then I watched a video, and I'm going to show you the video that I watched. And the video starts off, I'm kind of starting it midway through, and we're going to watch, and then I'm going to show you some of the notes that I took from the video. friends. So now I'm going to go and I'm going to write down my information that I took notes about during the video. So again, my question was, how are steel beams important to a skyscraper? And here's the information I got from the Empire State Building video, which is just so cool to watch how it started to be built in the beginning. So huge steel beams called derricks rise from the basement, and that's what we were just watching them put into place. So that was one thing that I marked down. So obviously those steel beams are going to help to support the skyscraper, so that's why they're important. The cranes lift steel beams to the upper floors. So you saw how big those cranes were and that they needed to lift the steel beams up. And so again, showing that the steel beams were going to support the upper floors. The beams are much larger than adult males. They are put together in 2 floor lengths. So just showing that the steel beams are very strong and that they can support the height and weight of the skyscraper. And then finally, hundreds of beams support each floor. 100,000 tons per month of steel beams are used. So again, just showing that steel beams are really important to the structure of the skyscraper. So now that I have my notes from the article and my notes from the video, what I did was I tried to come up with a main idea. And while I did that, I was thinking about what information could I integrate. That means take from both of these. So I don't want to take all 4 of these details, and I don't want to take all 4 of these details. I want to see if there's anything in common, and then I want to integrate them or join them together. So as I was doing that, I came up with my main idea or my focus statement is that steel beams are essential building materials in skyscrapers. Or if you don't know what the word essential means, necessary. So steel beams are necessary building materials in skyscrapers. And I think I can support that with both some details from the article and from the video. So my next sentence talks about in the article. So it's important to note here, friends, that in the article, I'm using this transition word and I'm also showing where I'm getting this information from. So in the article, Skyscrapers, the author states that skyscrapers were possible to build when affordable steel beams became available for builders. So again, proving that the steel beams were necessary in order to build skyscrapers higher. Then I took another piece of text evidence from the article. The superstructure is the skeleton of steel beams extending from the bottom to the top of the building. So again, I'm going back and I'm using my details, okay, from here, from the article, and stating it in my synthesis paragraph. Finally, I wrote from the article, the steel skeleton supports the floors and the walls. So that was my information from the article. Then, because I also want to integrate information that I learned from the video, I'm going to use another transition word, which again, this is my thought that you guys should also do this when you're writing your synthesis paragraph today. So in the video, and then I named the title of the video, the Empire State Building, shows that the steel beams are huge. And again, that goes to show that the steel beams are necessary for skyscrapers because skyscrapers are huge. Workers attach them in 2 floor lengths, again showing how big they are. And there are hundreds of beams supporting each floor. And if there wasn't, then we wouldn't be able to have skyscrapers. So again, everything goes back to my focus statement or my main idea. The Empire State Building used 100,000 tons of steel each month during construction. So again, proving that steel beams were essential in constructing the Empire State Building. So finally, friends, as you guys know, I would like to end with a concluding sentence. So I used, again, a transition word here in conclusion to show that I'm wrapping up my thoughts. Steel supports are the secret behind skyscrapers' success. So I didn't necessarily just reword the top. I tried to be a little bit more clever. And instead of saying steel beams, I wrote steel supports. And then instead of saying are essential or necessary, I said are the secret behind success. Okay? So that's how you're going to put your synthesis paragraph together. Again, using a focus statement and a conclusion. You definitely want to have your transition words here. So you're in your article and in the video. So when I look at the rubric then, before I turn this into my teacher, I look and see whether I think I'm proficient in doing this independently. Was I able to integrate information from two texts? Well, here's my information from the article, and in red's my information from the video, so yes. And did I write or speak knowledgeably about the subject? And I would say yes, because I came up with a main idea, I supported it with details, and then I had a concluding sentence. Okay? So now it's your turn. You are going to do the same graphic organizer as you see here, and this should be given to you by the sub. And your question is, what caused the Great Chicago Fire to burn out of control? So not just ruin the city, but what caused it to burn out of control? So what you're going to be doing is you are going to be reading, or I should say rereading, your Great Chicago Fire article, which is posted on Edmodo for you. So again, just reread this, and here, pay attention to your subtitles, the fire rages, oops, sorry friends, and bad building materials in the new Chicago. So pay attention to some of that stuff. And then you're also going to be watching a video about the Great Chicago Fire. So I'm going to pull that up for you so that you can at least see what you're going to be looking at. So you're going to be watching a video that looks like this. Okay, it's about 8 minutes long, and it's also posted in Edmodo for you. Okay, so this is the video that you're going to be watching. And again, your goal in the graphic organizer is to write down what caused the Great Chicago Fire to burn out of control. And that you should be writing right here where it says focus question. What caused the Great Chicago Fire to burn out of control? Okay, friends, you are going to be working with a partner. But in order to do that, you need to have finished this video. And once you have done that, you're going to stand up. You're going to put your hand up. And then you're going to pair up. Think about who you're choosing to work with. Some of you know that you're not allowed to work with other people. Please don't even think about doing that, because you don't want to lose 20 hot bucks when I come in, because we are going to have an auction on Friday. So stand up, put your hand up, and pair up. And then get working on the Great Chicago Fire article and video found on Edmodo. Thanks, friends.